You wake up and the air smells wrong, thicker, wetter, full of green rot and wood smoke that isn't yours. Before your eyes even adjust, you already know something is catastrophically different because the sky above you has no contrails, no drone hum, no distant highway sound. Nothing but wind moving through trees so old and so dense they feel like a wall pressing in from every direction. When you finally sit up, you realize you are lying in tall grass at the edge of a river valley somewhere on Earth, 100,000 years in the past. Back when Homo sapiens had only just begun trickling out of Africa into the Middle East. Back when Neanderthals still ruled most of Europe and Asia. Back when woolly mammoths, cave lions, and giant hyenas were not museum skeletons, but living, breathing neighbors. The first thing that should hit you, harder than the fear, is this. You are now, by a massive margin, the most technologically advanced being on the entire planet, and also one of the most fragile, because you have no fire starter, no knife, no shoes, no antibiotics, and no idea what plant next to you might kill you in 6 hours. So the very first move is not panic. It is inventory. Panic burns calories you cannot afford to waste, and calories in this world are the only currency that matters. So you check your pockets, your clothes, anything metal or sharp or reflective. Because a single steel object, even a belt buckle or a zipper pull, is worth more here than gold, since metal simply does not exist yet in any human hand on Earth. Bronze is still 50,000 years away. That alone tells you how staggeringly early you have landed. This is not ancient history, this is before history, before writing, before farming, before cities, before the wheel, before pottery. This is the deep, raw edge of the human story, where survival skills are the only technology that counts. Your instinct will be to build shelter first, but the real first priority is water, clean water, because dehydration kills faster than almost anything else. So you move toward that river sound, staying low, staying quiet, because in this era, you are not automatically the top predator. Cave lions bigger than modern African lions patrol these grasslands. Short-faced bears taller than door frames wander river valleys. Packs of direwolf-like canines hunt in coordinated groups. Every open field is a gamble, and every tree line is both a hiding spot and a hunting ground for something with better night vision than you. Once you find water, you face the second brutal truth of this world. You cannot drink it safely without boiling it. Parasites and bacteria are everywhere. And boiling means fire. Fire means you now need the single most valuable skill a modern human could bring back in time. Because Ice Age humans already have fire. They have had it for hundreds of thousands of years. So you are not impressing anyone by rubbing sticks together badly. You need it to actually work. A bow drill or a hand drill with the right wood, dry tinder, and patience. And if you cannot get a spark today, you will be drinking river water raw and hoping your gut survives the gamble, which is a genuinely dangerous bet in this timeline. Once fire is even a possibility, your next move is the one that actually determines whether you live past the first month. Finding people? Because lone survival for a modern human dropped into the Paleolithic is close to a fantasy. Real survival experts who've done multi-week primitive living challenges will tell you the difference between dying alone and thriving is almost always other humans. So you scan the horizon for smoke, for game trails worn down by repeated use, for cut marks on bones near a riverbank, for anything that says a band of early Homo sapiens or Neanderthals is nearby. And when you find them, and you eventually will, because at this point in history, small hunter-gatherer bands are scattered but not rare, especially near reliable water sources. The real test begins. Because you do not speak their language. You cannot explain who you are or where you came from. And any wrong move, raising your hands too fast, staring too long, walking in too confidently, could get you speared before a single word is exchanged. So the smartest approach is the oldest trick in the diplomatic book. Show your hands are empty, keep a respectful distance, mirror calm body language, and offer something valuable without threat. Maybe you already have fire lit from earlier. Maybe you have food. Maybe you simply demonstrate you are non-aggressive and wait. Because early humans were not mindless brutes. They had complex social structures. They cared for injured members of their group. They created tools with real craftsmanship. Some evidence even suggests symbolic thought and ornamentation this far back. So a stranger who behaves predictably and offers useful skills, even something as simple as a better way to sharpen a stone edge or start fire faster, could realistically be absorbed into a group instead of killed, especially if that stranger proves useful rather than threatening. And this is where your modern knowledge becomes either your greatest asset or completely useless. Because knowing that E equals mc squared means nothing to a hunter-gatherer band. But knowing how to make an improvised fishing hook, how to purify water faster, how to build a more efficient shelter, or how to track wounded game more effectively, those are things you could realistically demonstrate and trade for acceptance. This is the paradox of time travel fantasies. We imagine ourselves as geniuses who could rebuild civilization overnight. But the truth is, a random modern person, however smart, usually knows 1,000 facts and almost zero actual survival techniques. You might know that antibiotics exist, but you don't know how to synthesize penicillin from moldy bread in a controlled way. You might know farming exists, but you don't have domesticated seed stock. And full-scale agriculture is still tens of thousands of years away from being invented, specifically because the plants and animals available haven't been selectively bred yet. So instead of trying to invent the future, your realistic goal becomes something much smaller and much more human. Survive the next season, learn the local terrain, learn which plants are safe, learn the migration patterns of the herds that this band depends on, and slowly, carefully, earn trust. Because in this era, trust is survival. Isolated individuals die from exposure, predators, or starvation far more often than from violence. So the tribe is not just culture, it is life support. And if you manage to be accepted, life still won't be easy. Average lifespans are short. Childhood mortality is brutal. Injuries that are minor today can be fatal without modern medicine. A broken leg can mean death. An infected cut can mean death. Childbirth is extraordinarily dangerous for women. And yet, despite all of that, these early humans are not primitive in the way pop culture imagines. They have language, likely storytelling, complex tool-making passed down through generations, deep environmental knowledge modern humans have completely lost, and probably rich emotional and social lives built around cooperation. Because cooperation, not brute strength, is the actual secret weapon that let Homo sapiens outcompete every other hominin species on Earth, including physically stronger Neanderthals. So if you truly woke up in this world, your best long-term strategy wouldn't be trying to reinvent modern civilization. It would be trying to become genuinely useful within the framework that already exists. Teaching small, real improvements, one at a time. Maybe a better spear-throwing technique using leverage principles. Maybe a smarter trap design. Maybe better fire management for warmth through brutal glacial winters. Tiny upgrades, compounding slowly over years, not overnight miracles. And even then, you would likely never see progress the way you imagine it, because real technological change back then took thousands of years to spread even a little, which is honestly the most humbling part of this entire scenario. We love imagining ourselves as the hero who fast-forwards human history, but the truth is you would probably spend your entire remaining life just trying to survive one more winter, one more migration, one more birth, one more hunt, exactly like every other human being who has ever lived in that era. And maybe that's the real answer hiding underneath this whole thought experiment, that survival itself, not invention, not domination, not cleverness, was always the greatest achievement of early humans. And if you woke up in their world tomorrow, the most heroic thing you could possibly do isn't to change history. It's simply to make it through the night. So the real question isn't what you'd build in that world. It's whether you have what it takes to survive in the one those humans already mastered. And that question should scare you a lot more than any saber-toothed cat ever